Hello and welcome. I'm Althea Graney. Joining me today are four members of Simsbury Open Studio: Deborah Leonard, Lori Rassico-Burrows, Amy Conover, and Bill Seelig. We'll be introducing you to Simsbury Open Studios and some of the art and artists that you may visit during the 2019 Simsbury Open Studios on May 4th and 5th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thank you all for coming to film this program. I really appreciate you coming out on this cold, cold March morning and joining us here at the Simsbury Community Television Studios. I'm going to start the conversation with Amy because I just met you today.
Yes, we did. Thank you for inviting us.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure, really.
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell you that I just received pictures of some of your art from your husband via email, and I fell in love with them.
Oh, thank you so much.
So excited to have you here. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your art?
Sure. Let me see. My husband and I moved to Simsbury 33 years ago, and after both of us had been working in Midtown Manhattan.
Oh, wow.
And we bought a brand new home with white walls everywhere.
Oh.
And over the course of 33 years, we have filled them with 4 generations of art.
Wow.
So that's where I come from. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts from the Rhode Island School of Design, and went straight to 7th Avenue from there.
Wow.
Worked there for 7 years, and left in a limo 9 months pregnant. So it was a fun way to go out.
Wow, that is so
But
cool.
came here to raise our family.
Perfect. It's
Yeah.
a perfect home. It's a perfect place to raising a family.
Yeah. So also fortunate to have spent 30 summers in Camden, Maine, visiting and living with family in the Mid-Coast, Maine area. So I would pack my 3 daughters up and all their toys and rabbits and whatever had to come that summer, and we'd drive to Camden and spend the summer.
Perfect. It's a beautiful place. I was up there this past summer, and the opportunities to just express and recreate what you see and feel there is just amazing.
Yes. So the day my youngest daughter went off to go sailing all day long is the day I picked up my paintbrush. And I thought, wow, this is great. I have a whole block of time all by myself.
Yeah.
So that's when I picked up my paintbrush and started painting, and I haven't looked back since.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us today and for joining Simsbury Open Studios.
Yes. And while I won't be opening up my studio in my home, I will be showing at the Free Library.
Okay.
And I'll move over my easel and my grandfather's tabouret, and I'll be over there painting.
Perfect.
Also, so
Thank you.
Yeah.
And behind you on the wall is one of your
this
paintings.
is one of a series of paintings that I did a couple of years ago of Spanish chairs that were at this home in Camden that I spent many, many years at. And so one day I was chipping off the paint, and I thought would make such a great series. So I lined them up and I started taking photographs of them. Came back to Simsbury and started working on a series of these chairs. So, and this is one of them.
Beautiful.
So, and they will be in my show also. So,
Thank you. Well, we're going to go to Bill next because you're very well known in both Simsbury and Windsor. And what are some of your life experiences that have led, or not? What are your passions that have? What are the passions that make you create art?
I think that probably grammar school. Some of my old textbooks would have clipper ships and all sorts of different things that would be sketched into the margins. I think the first art form, which back in 1966 and 67 wasn't at that time even considered an art form, was photography. And I used to love doing black and white photography. I had my own darkroom in the basement and so forth and so on. Later, I had a friend that was a potter, and I did a lot with pottery and started decorating that. And then I was living out west in a little town in Arizona that was in the Mule Mountains called Bisbee, Arizona. And it was about 6 miles from the Mexican border. It was an old mining town that was shutting down. And so myself and a lot of other would-be artists picked up where the miners left off. I lived in a miner's shack and washed dishes at the Copper Queen Hotel for a year while I learned how to make jewelry from a textbook and a bunch of friends in town. So that's how I started. And a couple of years later, I decided I would establish an outlet for my jewelry making. So I came home to Windsor and started in a garage in a building behind on the main street that was in the back, and eventually worked my way to the front.
I've been to that store.
Wow.
Cool. Thank you. That's really interesting. That's just fascinating. So, Lori, you have been very active with many different activities here in Simsbury. What are some of your life experiences that have provided inspiration for your art?
I think that that question has two answers. The first one is I grew up in a very small town in upstate New York, and moved to Dallas, and then moved to Simsbury about 11 years ago, another small town, although it was bigger than the town I grew up in. And I just love the country. I love the woods. So a lot of my artwork are scenes from Simsbury, whether it's the tobacco barns or the Flower Bridge or the surrounding area, the Farmington Valley, the river. I also grew up thinking that someday I would become a vet, which I did not, a veterinarian. And I love animals. So animals are a huge inspiration for me. Again, a lot of times from local farms. The second part of that question is I've kind of, past couple of years, really started doing a lot of abstracts, very different from my realistic work. And the abstracts, they're really interesting. This bird that I did, this crow, this isn't an abstract, I realize that, but it has underneath, it's got kind of an abstract foundation. It was based off sketches that I made when I was in Portland, Oregon, taking care of my son who was in a motorcycle accident. I was there for 5 weeks. He's fine. But the experience was just, it was a bonding experience for us.
Yeah.
And I find that I use a lot of my sketches from my sketchbook of that time period to work on different pieces. The other thing with my abstracts is I have a series called Where the Hell Did My Memory Go? And that is based on my time working with patients with Alzheimer's or dementia. And my father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 2 years ago. And he actually came up with the title, Where the Hell Did My Memory Go? He still has quite a sense of humor.
Yeah.
So, depending on if I'm doing my abstracts, they're a little bit more personal, if that makes any sense. And then my realistic pieces, I really like the stories that I hear from people when they look at any of my artwork and they say, oh, that reminds me of, or I remember.
Yeah.
So.
Great. Well, thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for joining us today.
Thank you.
Debbie, you are so busy in the local art community, and you're incredibly busy seeing the world from a different perspective and exploring that perspective and bringing it to your artwork. How did that all begin? How did just looking at the world differently begin for you?
Well, art's always been a big part of my life. And I remember when I grew up in Hartford, really, really young, I would make maybe 4 or 5 paintings. I would put them up and have my family vote on which one they liked. I drove them crazy, like it was all the time. I had an art show going. But I've been painting for years, and I have so many different styles because I don't like to be bored, and so I change from plein air, abstract, and people have commented when they see my work that it looks like maybe several people have painted them all because they're all so different. And I love to teach. I've been teaching for 18 years in Simsbury, and I teach at the Farmington Valley Arts Center. And I think it's so wonderful to have that interaction, especially with people who are just starting to paint, and take them along the journey. And so I learn constantly from them, and I just absolutely adore teaching.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And I love being taught by you, too. So, for the novice viewer, can you tell us when Simsbury Open Studios began and how? I think we'll start with Debbie because you were there at the very beginning.
Yeah, it's one of the founding members, and Rita Bond stood up at an Avon Arts Association meeting, and she said that who would like to do this from Simsbury, like Granby, modeled kind of after Granby's Open Studios.
Yeah.
And so there were several of us that did it, and it's been great. This is our 10th year.
Wow.
And we've continuously had large crowds coming, I think because it's such a special thing, you know,
Right.
to go into the studios of so many people.
Yeah. Well, and also you're through the years, the artists have changed. Not just
Yes.
just the physical people have changed, but also the artists themselves, each individual artist has changed and grown also. I've noticed that, I'm kind of friends with everybody here, but Amy's my newest friend. But because it's just amazing that the changes everybody goes through. It's,
People move away too. We've had
well, that too. And, so how do you open up your creative, or why do you open up your creative space to the public?
Oh,
I think Lori wants to answer that one.
the stories. I think sharing what we do. I know on Facebook, I have a Facebook page, and I will post paintings in progress, and people they'll come up to me, we love that you do that. We love that we can see how you got from the blank canvas to that painting. And so this is just another way of doing that. Most of us during Open Studios are doing some sort of demo, or we have supplies out. We let the children that come through the studios experiment. And so, it's not just, we're not just showing our work, we're there to answer questions about our inspiration or our process. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes it so much fun, just talking about it. And like Debbie said, just teaching people how to use the tools or...
and I think the atmosphere, it's so relaxed too.
Yep.
People have a chance
They're comfortable
to ask a question that they don't have if they go to a museum or an art show. I mean, we're readily available, and so it's just fun.
Yeah.
Cool. So how many artists are members of SOS?
17
members, and 13
are
are
participating
participating this year.
this year. Okay. So some of the artists that are participating this year, besides you four, are Catherine Elliott, and she does oils primarily.
Oils, Impressionism.
Impressionism. Vicente Garcia, and he does these gorgeous vases and ceramics, and he also does some metal work also, right?
Yes, metal sculpture.
Marble sculptures. Incredible. He's got some stuff out on the internet with videos. It's amazing. So if you get a chance, go check that out. Julia Parker Post, she's watercolor, yeah. And she does amazing flowers and flower gardens and landscapes.
She travels also, and so
say, yeah.
she takes her watercolors with her. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing work. I haven't met Richard Schlecker. Anybody could tell me?
Landscapes, lots of landscapes. He has quite a variety.
He does abstracts too, yeah.
Does he too? Yeah. Okay, perfect. I'll have to go see him. Renee S. Hughes, she does prints, doesn't she?
Monoprints.
Monoprints, yeah.
So what are monoprints? Is it just like she cuts things out of,
Well, she's creating a surface,
okay.
building up a surface. I mean, this is all I know about it. And then she does like a one-off. You know, she puts the paint on that, and then it's like a one-off. Maybe two prints she'll get from it.
Oh, wow.
Some artists do the second one also.
Okay.
But
Very colorful.
I want to go because I want to go see her do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
she
colorful
does
work.
several layers. She will buy this foam, this sticky foam, and make these really interesting shapes, and then stick the foam on plates,
Wow.
and then she will ink it up, and then
Print it off.
yeah, it's beautiful.
I've seen some of her
Yeah.
work, and it's just like, wow, it's
Yeah,
amazing. The
her
color
layer-
and
her
the
layers.
layering.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Karen de Puente Squeezy, I'm actually wearing some earrings from her, and there's a small sample on the table of a necklace that she made. And I think Lori's are you wearing?
Yep, I have earrings and a necklace.
Necklace,
Yeah, she
yeah.
does what they call lamp work,
Yep.
working with glass in a flame.
Yeah.
So
I know
that's amazing.
flames between Vicente and Karen and Bill here is like, oh yeah, no, I don't think that's my kind of art. Only because it's just using, open flames and it's hot and I'm just not real good with fire. But you guys are just amazing. So, Grace Epstein.
She does everything, pottery and painting.
Yep. Yeah, she's got quite a large repertoire, and she's
Yes.
been very, very busy. So if you get a chance to go see her, it's absolutely amazing also. Jacqueline Jakubowski, she does
Landscapes,
landscapes
mostly, yes.
yeah. But she also does some beadwork.
Yeah, she does some jewelry. Yeah.
Yeah, so and beautiful, beautiful work. And Linda Maiden, I've never met her either.
She does landscapes.
Pastels.
And pastels.
In pastels. Okay, so it's
Very
different.
luminous pastels.
Beautiful. So, Bill, I'm going to come back to you because you've been so good over there. When somebody comes to your studio, what might they see when they come into your studio?
Well, of course, I have a little different situation because I have the retail jewelry store in the Drake Hill Mall.
Right.
I'm going to have a display of my original carvings. This is an example of an opal carving that I did a few years ago that hopefully will be in a piece of jewelry shortly. And so I'll have that upstairs, and then my shop is downstairs at the Drake Hill Mall, so I will take tours. I'll take people down to the studio and show them all the different things. The fire and brimstone. I alloy my own metals and make my own sheet and wire for hand fabrication.
Oh,
I also carve. Opal is a favorite stone. It's soft, and it's become so rare that carving allows you to reveal more of the beauty of the stone than the old style of just cutting straight, calibrated sizes and so forth. I also have a 3D printer and a CAD program for doing jewelry design. Wow. So I'll have all of that hopefully cleaned and neat by the time we do the show. And so I'll bring a few people at a time down to do a little tour of that.
wow. And we were talking earlier. It's actually a great show for people of all ages, right? It's something that
Absolutely.
anybody can come. Children are more than welcome. Of course, we do want them properly supervised by
We've never had a problem. I mean,
And they ask the best
yeah,
questions.
they ask
don't
the greatest questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're very interested. They're always looking for answers and just to know more.
And they're so open to the art.
Yeah.
You know, it's wonderful.
So after 10 years, some people might think they've seen everything there is to see, but I think we've pretty much covered that that's not necessarily true. I think we need to know that art is constantly changing, and I mean, we can come visit Lori today and something will have changed probably tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. I think our work just continues to evolve.
So how will people find the artist studios during this open studio event?
Oh, wow. It's amazing what one can do on the computer nowadays. I think there are little balloons on
On our website.
Yes, on Google Map,
Okay.
and each artist has a balloon. I think I'm describing this correctly, and you can just press on the balloon you want, the artist that you want to visit,
Okay.
and it'll tell you right where to go.
have-
And also a little blurb about that artist
Oh, okay, perfect.
will pop up. So.
And the flyers will be out.
Flyers will be out in the last, the third week of April in the Valley Press. We will have flyers at Bill's, at Fitzgerald's. We'll also have flyers at each of the artist studios, and then Harvest Cafe will have flyers too. And then we put them up
And
around.
we're on Facebook
Okay.
and Instagram.
All right.
So,
And one
And-
side of the flyer is a map.
Yes, thank you, Bill.
Okay. There you go. So
And there are signs, directional signs.
right.
We will have the signs too.
the signs are those blue and yellow
Paintbrush.
Paintbrushes. Yep.
Yes. I noticed you upgraded it too.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years.
Exactly. And also, there's SimsburyArtist.org, which is your website, so people can go there to find out more about the artists
Yep. And that's the map that Amy was talking
and the
about
way the
too.
map is going to be. And I think that's probably mobile phone compatible too, right? The map and everything?
Yes, my understanding is
so,
it is.
yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's why we did it.
What advice would you give to a person who's brand new going to their first open studios?
Go to as many places as you can, I think.
Yeah.
We're so different.
Yeah, just try to get it
Just
all in. It's
go
2
and
days, so.
enjoy, yeah. Just ask questions, just
Wear comfortable shoes.
Have fun. Yeah, wear comfortable shoes. Very good.
Right. And some people have long driveways. I won't mention it. So
I'll have a chair midway in my long driveway with refreshments.
okay, and then if people have any questions about or for a specific artist and they can't make it to Simsbury Open Studios, is there a way to contact artists that...
So on the website, if you go under artists, there will be a blurb and there's a photo. But it also, if the artist has a website, it will link you. You can click on a link and get to each artist's website. And then usually via the website, there's a way of contacting. If that isn't the case, you could always send an email through the Simsbury Artists Gmail account.
Okay.
And that will be on the simsburyartist.org. So, but I'm guessing that we all have websites.
Yeah, I think so.
So
Yeah.
through the,
Okay. Yeah, it's an incredible experience. I haven't been able to go for the past 4 years because my daughter, of course, was in college. And guess what? That particular weekend was always the weekend that she was getting out of college and or the weekend that she graduated. But this year, I get to go.
Oh, awesome.
Well, you've been so good to us for the 10 years
Yes.
with SCTV. It's been wonderful.
No, thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
I've really enjoyed it, let me tell you.
And I'm really looking forward to it for my first time. So this will be a great new experience for me.
Perfect. So I'm going to thank Bill and Lori and Amy and Debbie for coming today. And we're here at the SCTV studio in Eno Memorial Hall. And SCTV is television provided by Simsbury residents for Simsbury residents. Simsbury Open Studios is celebrating their 10th Open Studio event on Saturday, May 4th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Sunday, May 5th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. All are welcome, but most studios are private homes and may not be fully handicap accessible, and children should be accompanied by an adult. At each studio, you can speak with the artist about their inspirations, training, and the passions that have gotten them to this place of joyful expression. Every artist experiences the world through their special lenses, using the materials the world provides and their imagination to shape a small recreation of what they have experienced. They may use canvas and paints, or clay or paper and ink, or watercolor, or stone and metals, or glass, or any of the parts and pieces of the world that help them express themselves, so that you can also enjoy their experience. It is the sharing of these experiences that brings us joy and pleasure. Hope to see you all enjoying yourselves at Simsbury Open Studios May 4th and 5th. I'm Althea Graney. Thank you for watching and supporting SCTV and Simsbury Open Studios.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.